everybody! So today I got to see the latest Marvel movie called Doctor Strange, and this is the latest entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This was directed by Scott Derrickson, who has like a horror background, and this has been a really interesting comic book movie for me. It's the first one that I've really read as much of the comics beforehand as I could to kind of be ready, because it's going to be really fun. Tomorrow I am doing a special podcast with my friend Trevor over at How to Love Comics on Twitter. We are going to be talking about the character of Doctor Strange from both the comics and how it translates to the movie, and to give you sort of our thoughts about the movie. So it's going to be a very, very fun podcast. So definitely you want to check that out. It should be around 10 p.m. Mountain Time, but I'm not sure 100% because he's in Australia, so we'll do our best to have it about then. But anyway, so I've been sort of studying it up in a different way than I might normally with these comic book movies. And so Doctor Strange is a character his name is Stephen Strange, and he is this expert neurosurgeon, and he ends up in a car accident where he's very cocky. He's kind of like Tony Stark, and he ends up in a car accident where he loses the ability to sort of control his hands so that he can't be the doctor that he once was, and his hands like shake. And so he tries everything, he tries surgeries, he tries everything he can think of. And so finally seeking this sort of group in Nepal, it turns out is run by this woman named the Ancient One, played by Tilda Swinton. And he starts to get some training. He finds out about the mystical arts and this other dimension that is there, that there's a mirror dimension, and then there's other dimensions that you can use to manipulate and control and to create magic, to then fight your foes and your whatever. And so that's sort of where the story goes. And this movie, I think, kind of rides on two things. One, do you accept Benedict Cumberbatch as this character, and do you like this character and his journey? And two, do you like the visual effects? It's sort of where it comes, because a lot of the other characters are pretty minor. The Ancient One's probably the next biggest, but someone like Wong, who's a big character in the comics, is not in it that much. The Chiwetel Ejiofor's character isn't in it that much. The villain played by Mads Mikkelsen isn't in it that much. Rachel McAdams is in and out kind of in it, but she's good. Everybody's good. I actually liked everybody. I didn't mind any of the characters, but this really is kind of a one-man show as far as the thrust of the movie and the character and everything like that, and the plot. And as he's sort of getting his training, he enters all these different dimensions, and you've seen it in the trailers where he'll push on the air and it'll turn into sort of mirrors, and he'll sort of dive into it. It looks like a kaleidoscope, and people comparing it to Inception, and I don't know if there are scenes, sort of cityscapes of them folding in. I guess I kind of get that, but it's a lot more surreal than Inception. Inception actually feels a little bit more grounded than this. I mean, this you have times when he's sort of floating, and it seemed almost like the situation in Ant-Man, where Ant-Man is sort of in that atomic zone. And one of the things that I think this movie did really well is that it showed big very well. Like, it just showed these huge worlds, these huge cityscapes, and it was beautiful and exciting and enthralling. But one of the things the comics, I think, does a little bit better is that it shows small well. A lot of the comics are about him sort of facing off against diseases, or facing off against devils, or facing off against, he'll actually go in people's mind and try to retrieve a memory. I guess that sounds like Inception, but it's really not. He'll actually fight sort of bad dreams and things like that in a person's mind and face off against them, all that stuff. So it's sort of smaller in scale, kind of like Ant-Man, but this definitely takes like the big approach. And there's one comic where him and Dr. Doom go to try to find Dr. Doom's mother, and they in hell, because she'd sold her soul basically to the devil. And so that's certainly a big story. And so it just depends, I guess, but I'd be curious in the next one for him to kind of solve more of sort of, a lot of the comics are more sort of his making house calls and sort of dealing with whatever sort of paranormal kind of illness people are facing. And so I'd be curious in the next one for him to kind of maybe be a little bit smaller in that way, but probably not, because Marvel, you know, is getting ready for Infinity War, so they need to be big. It would be really cool if like he went inside maybe Loki's head or something like that. That would be really neat, but who knows? But overall, it's super entertaining, it's super beautiful, and I personally, so as far as the two different keys to, I think, making this film work, Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange I thought was great. He was super entertaining, he was cocky when he needed to be, but then he was also sort of weak and vulnerable when he needed to be. I think you saw like a real character arc for him through the course of the story. You saw him learn and grow and sort of realize things about himself. And so that was really good. And then also you had the second part, the amazing special effects, and the world building and the CG is incredible. The only thing about it, I did see it on IMAX 3D, and there were sequences that maybe went on a little bit too long, and I started to get a little bit motion sick. Now I'm very sensitive to that kind of thing, but it was so swirly and so, you know, the 3D and everything like that, that for me, I think they could have been just a little shorter, and I would have maybe liked them a little bit better. But overall, I wasn't bored in this movie. I was very entertained throughout. And for me, I don't have the emotional connection that I have to Tony and Steve in Captain America Civil War. So I still think that's a little bit better, but this is one of the strongest origin stories from Marvel for sure. So yeah, I'd be curious to know what you think. Do you like Doctor Strange? Did you not like it? Where were you at it? I would give Doctor Strange an A-. I really was thoroughly entertained by it. So let me know what you think, and thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you later. Bye!